Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Paulina Molina, and I'm the Director of Alumni Engagement at St. Joseph's College. I'd like to thank you all for joining us today as we kick off our Golden Eagle Spirit Fest with a Lunch and Learn faculty spotlight on mindfulness presented by Professor Tom Petriano. The Golden Eagle Spirit Fest brings together the SJC community through multiple events, including a virtual run walk, scavenger hunt, honors program reunion, accounting program reunion, virtual trivia, and Golden Eagles Huddle. For more information and to register, please visit our website. First, a few housekeeping notes. Everyone has been muted and will remain muted during the presentation. Please use the chat feature to submit questions throughout the presentation. And feel free to use the reactions button to give a thumbs up or clap as you see fit. Today's presentation is on the practice of mindfulness, the concept of being fully present and aware in the moment to provide aid in stress management, anxiety, and general well-being. Questions and discussion from the audience are welcomed and encouraged. And it is my pleasure to introduce our presenter, Professor Tom Petriano. He is chair of the Religious Studies Department and teaches courses on both the Patchogue and Brooklyn campuses. He collaborated with Dr. Peter Lin of the Psychology Department in implementing the Mindfulness and Contemplative Living minor, which is an interdisciplinary minor that incorporates religious studies and psychology courses. He teaches the Buddhism course, which is one of the courses required for the minor. Welcome, Tom.
Greetings, everyone. It's so great to see all of you and to be here this afternoon with you, and especially to see so many familiar faces out there, some of you whom I haven't seen in a pretty long time. I also want to thank the committee for inviting me to be part of this presentation. It's provided me with an opportunity to really carve out some time this afternoon, not only to be with all of you, which I was enormously looking forward to, but somewhat also selfishly, it's given me an opportunity to remind myself of how important developing a practice of mindfulness is for my own physical and emotional well-being. You know, there's no question that these are stressful times for all of us. COVID has been the source of tremendous anxiousness for everybody in different ways, for different reasons. How many of us, I wonder, have found ourselves hearing or even using the word crazy to describe the times we're going through? You know, people ask me, how are the courses going? How are the hybrid courses going? How are the remote courses going? And it's all, how is it seeing people walking around with masks? It seems so surreal. Crazy is the word that comes to mind for many of us. I actually heard a news report recently of dentists reporting seeing a significant rise of patients with chipped teeth because they were grinding their teeth at night. And it's directly linked, they suspect, to anxiousness, a heightened stressfulness because of all the circumstances surrounding COVID that we're dealing with. Well, there's no cure for the anxiousness we feel. I think the anxiousness, whether it's caused by COVID or just the demands of everyday living, there is a way to manage it. And the way to manage it can be described best, I think, by the word mindfulness. So I'm happy to have this opportunity to share with you this afternoon some thoughts about mindfulness. What is it? And if everyone is game, to really spend a few minutes in mindful meditation. So what is mindfulness? Let me illustrate with a story. Another word for mindfulness could be the word attention. When I was growing up, I went to Catholic school, St. Joseph in Queens Village, if any of you know Queens Village. And my first grade teacher was Sister Catherine Ann. I remember her so well. And what I also remember about that class was how many times she would say to me something like, Thomas, pay attention. Thomas, sit up and pay attention. And pay attention, it seems, has followed me almost like a mantra through my educational years. Mr. Petriano, pay attention, pay attention. Little did I know that Sister Catherine Ann in first grade was sharing with me some of the deepest and truest wisdom about life that comes to us from all of the great wisdom traditions of the world's religions. Mindfulness is essentially paying attention to the present moment, being in the present moment. For some reason, we as human beings find it hard to be in the present moment. We are easily drawn into the past, or we're easily drawn into the future, worry about the future, concerns or thinking about the past, regrets about the past. And the pull of the past or the future makes it very often difficult to be in the present moment. Every once in a while, I'll go home at the end of the day. I'm getting better at this, but I have to make a little confession to all of you that this still happens once in a while when I go home at the end of the day. And I am thinking about my day, thinking about classes, how the classes went, how this class went, how that class went. And my wife will be home and maybe preparing dinner and telling me something about her day. But of course, I'm thinking about my day. And all of a sudden, while I'm kind of pulled back into the past of my day, I will hear her say to me, "Tom, tell me what I just said to you." And darn it, every time I'm like busted, like she knows that I have not been paying attention to what she was saying. I was not present to her, as of course she needed me to be present. Mindfulness is the skill that helps us to be present, to be attentive, to be in the present moment. Maybe I could illustrate it with a slide. Bear with me, I'm still getting the hang of Zoom because of all these hybrid and remote courses. I don't have it quite down perfectly, but bear with me a second and let me try and share a couple images with you. Can you guys see that? Maybe Lisa, can you give me a thumbs up? Yes, okay, good. So you can, I love this image here. A little boy and a young boy, really, a teenager it looks like, and his dog. And the caption is, this is why the dog is happier. If any of you have dogs or cats, my wife and I have 2 cats, Angelina and Graciela, and I think what's true of dogs is also true of cats in terms of their living in the present moment. The boy is thinking about mostly the future, money, travel, cars. The dog is not thinking about the future. He's not thinking about the past. The dog is immersed in the present moment. The dog is paying attention to the present moment. Let's listen to something the Buddhist teacher Jon Kabat-Zinn has to tell us about mindfulness. I love this quote from Jon Kabat-Zinn. Hold it, let me go back a minute. That's the second one. I want to give you the first one first. Okay. So he says, mindfulness is about being fully awake in our lives. It is about perceiving the exquisite, I love the way he says this, the exquisite vividness of each moment. See, the vividness of each moment is available to us only when we could be in the present moment and when we're not distracted by the past or the future. Then we feel more alive. I would say we feel most alive. We also gain immediate access to our own powerful inner resources for insight, transformation, and healing. That's really what mindfulness is about, ultimately. Insight, transformation, and healing. And it's found, it's not found in the past and reminiscences and memories about, when I was a student at St. Joseph's College and when this was all great and wonderful, nor is it found in the future when everything will be right, when COVID will be over, when I'll achieve this goal. The transformation and the healing and the insight are found within and in the present moment. Kabat-Zinn goes on to say, actually provide a definition of mindfulness. I love this definition. He says mindfulness means paying attention. There we have it again, paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally. Each element in that sentence is really important. We've talked about attention, paying attention, being focused in the moment. And we do so on purpose, okay? We purposely attempt to focus our attention on the present moment and to do so non-judgmentally. I don't think I can emphasize enough how important non-judgmentally is to this definition. Because when we attempt to focus on the present moment, very often it's just human nature, a whole range of other thoughts comes into our minds. We are easily distracted. We're distracted by thinking about the past, thinking about the future, thinking about the weekend, thinking about a conversation that went well or didn't go well. And then we say to ourselves, this is the kicker, we say to ourselves, I shouldn't be thinking of that, or I shouldn't be having that thought. And what Kabat-Zinn is saying to us is mindful meditation means being non-judgmental about ourselves, about the fact that we're even being distracted, but allowing the distracting thoughts to just kind of pass through our minds, almost like a train going through a station without stopping. So important to, and I know from some of you who are here, are psychology majors, psychology teachers. We put the word should into so much of our thinking. And I say to students often, one of the most important words to eliminate or remove from our vocabulary is the word should. I shouldn't think that, or I shouldn't have done that, or I should do this. Because should implies judgment, self-judgment. And central to mindfulness meditation is being non-judgmental. So attitudes associated with mindfulness are non-judgmentalism, patience, being patient with where we are, being patient with who we are. Patience means eliminating words like should from our vocabulary. What's often called Buddhism, really, Buddhist teachers give us this term, the beginner's mind, sort of like the whiteboards we have in our classrooms now, where we enter into a meditative moment with a beginner's mind, without any agenda, but just with open hands, coming to the present moment. That implies trust. It implies non-striving. We strive in so many areas of our lives to achieve, to accomplish. Meditation is not about achieving or accomplishing. It's about being. Buddhist teachers, and I think all religious traditions would affirm this same insight, that we are human beings, not human doings. But our behavior so much is about doing and not just being. There's a joy, there's a peace, there's a serenity that comes from just being and not striving, from accepting ourselves, accepting the present moment that we are in, and letting go of all the distractions that vie for our attention, thoughts about what needs to be done, our to-do lists, things we want to change. Mindfulness is letting go and accepting ourselves in the present moment. How do we do it? You might be saying or thinking to yourself, yeah, all that sounds very good, but how do you do it? Okay. The Vietnamese Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh, still living today in France, he has written many wonderful books on mindfulness, and one of my favorites is something called Present Moment wonderful moment. And the title of the book really says it all. The present moment, whatever it is, wherever we are, and each of us is in a different place now as we are participating in this afternoon on mindfulness, lunch and learn. Yeah. But wherever we are participating in it from, our present moment is a wonderful moment. And we have the capacity to tap into it. In fact, Thich Nhat Hanh says, everything should be done in meditation. Mindfulness is really a 24-hour-a-day task, 24/7, not just during a set period of time that we allot for formal meditation. But the formal meditation is what helps us and enables us to become more mindful in conversations with our spouses when we go home at the end of the day, in conversations with students, in conversations with clients, in conversations with patients, whatever we do with our lives. It's what helps us to be more mindful, to be more in the present moment, to be mindful when we're eating, to be mindful when we're walking, to be mindful if you're participating in any of the other events of Spirit Fest this weekend. Our time spent in meditation is what helps us to be more tuned in to the present moment, the wonderful moment. Most kind of important to the time we carve out for meditation, whether it be 5 minutes or 10 minutes or a half hour, there are a couple of important elements, 3 really. One, all the great spiritual masters, wisdom teachers tell us that posture is important. It could be sitting cross-legged on a cushion or a chair with legs crossed or uncrossed, okay? Could cross-legged on a cushion, and wherever you are today, whatever position works, and we're going to try it in a few minutes, cross-legged on a cushion or on the floor, or a chair with legs uncrossed and our feet on the floor. What's important is that our posture is one of, well, they talk about sitting tall like a mountain, with dignity, with nobility. There's a lot of really Eastern sort of wisdom that goes into this too, about if you follow it, the alignment of chakras and energy lines in the body. Clearly, posture can help us. And again, I'll go back to Sister Catherine Ann. When she was always telling me to pay attention, she usually followed her admonition, pay attention, with sit up straight. Little did she know that she was actually already tutoring me in a way that I wasn't ready to appreciate on an important technique in being in the moment and in meditation. Sit up straight. The arms can be relaxed on our thighs. We sit straight, but not rigid. And we take our seat, whether it's on a chair or a cushion or on the floor, with a sense of dignity. Secondly, so important to meditation is breath. If any of you have tried meditation practices in the past, or have done yoga, or even working out in a gym, we know how important being tuned into our breath is. Inhaling and exhaling has tremendous physical and also emotional benefit. And for meditation, breath is the anchor that we use to come back to the present moment when thoughts distract us by pulling us into the past or into the future. We always are invited to return to our breath and using our breath as an anchor. And thirdly, we're invited to notice when our mind wanders, but not to judge, but just to take note. And when it does wander, we gently escort our awareness back to our breath. Those are, I think, the 3 most important elements of a meditation practice: posture, breath, noting. The importance of breath cannot be overstated. Focusing the mind on the continuous rhythm of inhalation and exhalation provides a natural object of meditation. As we focus our awareness on our breath, our mind becomes absorbed in the rhythm of inhalation and exhalation. And all kinds of studies have been done on the, first of all, just the physical benefits of focusing on our breath, benefits to our blood pressure, benefits to our stress levels, health benefits. Many have been acknowledged by researchers, as well as emotional benefits, the calm that comes from focusing on our breath. And as a result, and the practice of doing this really, our breathing will become slower and deeper, and the mind becomes more tranquil and more aware, which is the goal. So just a brief illustration of posture, okay? Whether you're seated on a chair or on a cushion or on the floor. Thich Nhat Hanh says, imagine yourself as a pebble. Actually, I'm going to ask everybody, we're not going into the meditation yet, but anyway, just kind of lower your gaze a minute as I read this to you, as a little preparation for our meditation. Imagine yourself as a pebble which has been thrown into a river. The pebble sinks through the water effortlessly. Detached from everything, it falls by the shortest distance possible, finally reaching the bottom, the point of perfect rest. You are like a pebble which has let itself fall into the river, letting go of everything. At the center of your being is your breath, the source of your life. You don't need to know the length of time it takes before reaching the point of complete rest on the bed of fine sand beneath the water. When you feel yourself resting like a pebble, which has reached the riverbed, that is the point when you can begin to find your own rest. You are no longer pushed or pulled by anything. Before actually entering into a few minutes of meditations, one final point I would like to make about mindfulness and meditation. Thich Nhat Hanh makes this point, but it comes from the wisdom of Buddhism. And again, I really want to emphasize, I think in one way or another, we find this in all the religious traditions. There is an intrinsic connection between mindfulness and compassion. When our minds are liberated, okay, from the past or the present, our heart floods with compassion. Compassion for ourselves, for having undergone, Thich Nhat Hanh says, undergone countless sufferings because we were not yet able to relieve ourselves of false views or false realities, hatred, ignorance, anger, but also compassion for others because they do not yet see and are still imprisoned by false views, hatred, and ignorance, and continue to create suffering for themselves and others. So now you look at yourself and at others with the eyes of compassion. This is one of the tremendous benefits, I think, of meditation, because it enables us to be compassionate, first of all, with ourselves. And when we're compassionate with ourselves, we're better able to be compassionate toward others. We look at ourselves and others with the eyes of compassion, like the saint who hears the cry of every creature in the universe and whose voice is the voice of every person who has seen reality in perfect wholeness. See, mindfulness connects us with everyone and everything, even though it's something we do in a solitary way. In that action, we recognize our connectedness to all things. And therefore, it enhances our capacity for compassion. So with some of those thoughts in mind, I'd like to invite us, if you're game, okay, just to try a few minutes of meditation. I'm going to stop sharing the screen. Okay, I think you should be able to see me, and just invite us to kind of settle into a comfortable posture. They always say be comfortable, but not too comfortable. To be seated. Most of us probably are seated in a chair, but with our backs straight. They say try to imagine there's like a string attached like to the crown of your head to the ceiling, and that's what's holding us straight. Okay. As we kind of find our comfortable posture, bear with me for a second because I'm going to just put some music on in the background as we begin the meditation. Okay, so as we find ourselves seated in a comfortable position, I invite us to either whatever is more comfortable for you to lower your gaze or close your eyes and begin the process of becoming centered, entering into stillness, entering into the present moment, the wonderful moment that is now. We have achieved a comfortable posture, maybe hands on our thighs, palms up or palms down, whatever suits you better. Feet planted firmly on the ground because posture is important. And we begin to focus attention on our breath. Our breath is our life. We breathe continually throughout the day and night, but we rarely take time to focus on our breath, the gift that our breath is, the gift of life that we experience in this present moment. So I invite us all to begin to breathe, taking a deep breath of air, inhaling and exhaling. We slowly inhale and exhale. It's a very simple, light-hearted way to enter into calm and stillness by focusing on our breath. We breathe in the freshness of the air of this fall day. We exhale, we breathe out all that is stale or old within us. We breathe in life, newness, a new season that has begun with all its possibilities. And we breathe out the season, the time that has passed, and find ourselves in this present moment. We breathe in love, love that is all around us when we take time to pay attention. We breathe out love, the love we have the capacity to share with others. In our comfortable posture, it's all just together. Focus on our breathing. And when distracting thoughts come, we go back to our breath as an anchor and let the thoughts pass as they come. We leave all judgment behind. As we continue to inhale and exhale, to breathe, let us draw attention to our hearts. Place a light in your heart. There is light outside all of us for sure, but there is also a light inside of us. When we are in the present moment, we can draw our attention inward to that light. And as our diaphragm, our bellies expand and contract with our breaths, imagine that light inside of each of us expanding. Imagine all whom we can share that light with, the light that is within us that can bring light to others. Let us enjoy the quiet. So rarely do we have quiet moments in our day. Let us be thankful for the quiet and the peace of this moment in which we're all connected to each other, even though we are in different places. Breathing in and breathing out. We are grateful for the present moment that is the wonderful moment. I'm going to ask you if you would slowly and gradually at your own pace to open your eyes. And I'd like to share with you, in Sanskrit they use the word mudra. A mudra is a hand posture. In yoga, for example, this is one we're very familiar with. Namaste, right? When you bring your palms together to your heart. But there's another mudra where you open your palms, like you join, if you can follow me, we join our pinkies and our thumbs, and we open our palms instead of close them. It's called the lotus mudra. And the lotus flower opens in the morning. And I love this mudra, and I sometimes like to conclude my meditation with the lotus mudra because it symbolizes openness, receptivity, a willingness to receive the gifts of this day, the gifts of this new season. So as we continue to breathe in and to breathe out, we lower our gaze again with our hands open in the lotus mudra. Open to receiving. Open to the present moment. Open to the gifts of this day. Gifts that may even come in our challenges and in our struggles. I invite you now to bring your palms together to close them, right? In the kind of prayer posture, as they call it. And many times meditation sessions end with the words, "May all living things be free of suffering and at peace." And with that, we end our meditation. And I invite you to gently, quietly open your eyes and bring ourselves back together. I'd like to share with you one final thought before we go into the questions and discussion. Bear with me a second. One second, please. Yes. So I leave you with this one final quote from Thich Nhat Hanh. He says, "Go back and take care of yourself. Your body needs you. Your feelings need you. Your perceptions need you. The wounded child in you needs you. Go home and be there for all these things. Practice mindful walking and mindful breathing. Do everything in mindfulness so you can be there, so you can love." Are we all still here?
Thank you, Tom. That was amazing. If everyone has questions for Tom, feel free to send them in the chat. You can send them to everyone or to me privately, Jessica Miotti. While we're waiting for some questions to come in, I actually have a question. So I was just wondering, how can you really, if you're totally new to this, how do you start? What's the best way to start this every day?
Okay, great. Well, I would say, start slow, start easy, 2 or 3 minutes of finding a place where you can be comfortable, find a place at home where you can just be quiet and comfortable for a few minutes and just start with a few minutes and always, finding the right posture in a place where we can be relatively undistracted. Maybe it's indoors, maybe, you can do it walking, actually. There are wonderful walking meditations too. But I have a space at home that I generally, try to use, but it could be anywhere, it's just showing up. Actually, Jess, I think it's a matter of showing up and starting for a few minutes. And I think, in my experience, and even with students, if we're not used to this, silence and quiet can be a little bit intimidating, can be a little scary. It could seem weird, when I've done this with students in a Buddhism class. because certainly students are not accustomed to this, where everybody's walking around with, earbuds, and we're not accustomed to it. So it can be a little intimidating, but I think the more we do it, the more we find how useful and how valuable it is. And but I would say start small, start simple, smart. It's not, doesn't have to be complicated. It's just finding a quiet place, a posture, and using our breath to anchor us in the present moment.
That's great. We actually have a question from Neil.
Okay.
So he asked, Tom, what is the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning?
Oh, that's a good question, Neil. Yeah. I sit at the edge of my bed, and I try to be grateful for the day, and mindful that it's a new day, and thankful for the gift of the day. Depending on how many times I've hit the snooze button, I have a little more time or a little less time to do that. But I always stop and pause to be mindful of the day, for me personally, to offer the day to God. And that's pretty much how I start. That's like the first thing I do before I just sit at the edge of the bed and do that.
So we have another question, and I think the meditation portion was just so peaceful. That music was amazing. So the question is, where do you find this music, and is it free music that everyone can get?
Oh, okay, yeah. All right. It's a great question. This was a Spotify playlist. So Spotify has, you can use Spotify free, or you can subscribe, and we have a family subscription at home because my wife and I both use it. But either way, there's you can just do it. That you can search for playlist, and the playlist is called Peaceful Meditation. You can do it with Pandora also. If you just put in the search box Peaceful Meditation, and they'll give you the playlist. It's pretty cool. What I find with Pandora, unless you have a subscription, you have commercials, that can sometimes interrupt the music. But yeah, Pandora or YouTube, by the way. YouTube is free, and you can just do a search on YouTube for peaceful meditation, and there's so many beautiful videos with music, but not that you have to use the video. You can just use the music. So any one of those three, I think, would work, and I would recommend. But this was Spotify.
Another question from Kathy. She wants to, this is, I guess, a follow-up to Neil's question, is how do you end the day?
Oh boy. Similar. I mean, this has changed at different points in my life, but right now it's, again, sitting at the end of the bed and thinking about the day, thinking about, the gifts of the day that I may have missed because I didn't pay attention. Like I try to sort of run the video of the day, and maybe discover moments where I could have been more and wasn't, or things that I missed in the course of the day. We have so many interactions in the course of a day, and so many times, again, I go back to Sister Catherine Ann, bless her soul, we don't pay enough attention to them. So at the end of the day, as best I can, I try to be mindful of the day, thankful for the day and all that it has brought, and end the day that way.
This is along kind of the same line. So meditation sounds like a useful tool to stop mind chatter in the middle of the night. Have you ever had the need, and does it seem to work?
Gosh, that's a great question. Yes, because mind chatter is in the middle of the night is, I think, probably something so many of us struggle with, or our most difficult moments are 3 o'clock in the morning when we're laying awake in bed, and Buddhists call it the monkey mind, and the monkey mind takes over, and all these different scenarios run through our mind that make us anxious. And yes, I think using a mantra, I didn't talk too much about mantras, but breathing is a kind of mantra, but sometimes you can use a word or a phrase. And again, this is a lot of this is this old-fashioned wisdom. I remember when I was a kid, and I had a bad dream or something, or I was up in the middle of the night, or maybe I just wanted an excuse to go into my parents' bedroom, and I'd say, "Ma, I can't sleep," and my mother would say, "Count sheep." Well, counting sheep is kind of like a mantra. That's what it is. You try to focus your attention on counting the sheep, so you're not thinking about the things that are keeping you awake. But there are all kinds of mantras. A Hail Mary or an Our Father could be a mantra, or but there are so many mantras. So I would recommend, and what I sometimes try to do is just find a mantra to repeat. Again, the whole idea is to bring us back to the present moment, because when the monkey mind takes over, it's something in the past or something in the future. Class next day, this, that's due, and this. The mantra can help us tame the monkey mind.
Thank you. If anyone else has another question, just open it up for a few more minutes, see if last minute questions.
Oh, wow, that's great. Thank you, Susan. I'm glad. Thank you for joining us. By the way, I guess everybody figured out that I'm not at Robert Moses Field 5 today, but through the through the wonders of Zoom, which I'm becoming more and more familiar with, I was able to set up this background. But I was there over the weekend, and it was just beautiful, and I wanted to share some of that beauty and peace with all of you.
We have another question. Is meditation good for children?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think we don't do enough of that. Yes. In some countries, they teach meditation. That's part of the everyday in some schools. I think it's absolutely good for children. Yes.
And another question, can you recommend a meditation retreat that you attended?
Oh gosh, I can't. I don't think I've ever attended a meditation retreat. There are some. I'd have to do a little research on it. My colleague in the psychology department, Professor Peter Lynn. I don't know who asked that question. But we can find. Dr. Lynn takes students on meditation retreats. There's a Zen center upstate where he actually takes students. I can find out. Jessica, can you or somebody get contact information from the person that asked that question? And I could find out. There's a Zen monastery upstate where they regularly have meditation retreats.
Another question, can meditating help with distractions such as constant availability of social media?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Yeah, because that's one of the, I think that's one of our downfalls is we're so attached to, social media has some benefits, of course, and, advertising this day, we wouldn't be able to advertise it without social media, right, Lisa? Yeah, but when we're connected to our earbuds all the time or our phones, meditation can be very, very helpful and useful. It takes a little discipline because, and I know some of you have studied psychology, and our psychologists, these devices have become addictions in many ways, and it takes a little bit of a discipline to free ourselves from that addiction. But meditating can really be a helpful substitute, replacement for it.
Thank you so much, Tom.
Okay. Thank you all. This has been marvelous. I guess I want to say, when can we do it again? I've loved this. It was so great. Thank you all for setting it up, everybody from alumni and from IAA. And thank you. Stay positive. And as somebody said to me, stay positive and test negative, everybody. Okay. See you all next time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tom, for that wonderful presentation and meditation and for helping to bring peace to our day. We really appreciate you taking the time to share this expertise with the SJC community. For more information on the Golden Eagle Spirit Fest and to register for any of our upcoming events, please visit the Office of Alumni Engagement website at sjcny.edu/alumni and click on events. Thank you again, Tom, and thank you all for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.